that last year, I lost all feeling for Kathy. I was a brand new believer, and I had no feelings for her, and it scared the heck out of me. And it went on for month after month, and about the fourth month, I really sought the Lord. Remember, I'm a brand new Christian. I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just learning the Bible. I'm learning about love. I was not raised in a Christian home. I had no Christian influence in my life. And so I was praying one day, and I heard the Lord say this to me. This is one of the very first things I ever heard from the Lord myself. He said, I took away the feeling that you have for Kathy, so that if you can love her out of sacrifice, then you're ready to make a covenant. And that feeling was gone for 6 months. Thankfully, it came back a few months before we got married. And that became a foundation for our marriage. We've been married now 43 years. How many know that marriage is a death march to a life camp?
What? A life camp?
See, the world is redefining marriage. The world is redefining love. You lost that love and feeling. Oh, that love and feeling. You lost that love and feeling. Now it's gone. Do you know, you may have lost that love and feeling, but it doesn't mean you lost love.
Amen.
Because love is not a feeling.
Right.
Agape love is a choice you make no matter how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
What's love got to do with it? Everything. It's got everything to do with it. Because what I do when I don't feel like it determines my life. I remember years ago, I used to counsel at Bethel when I first came to Bethel 21 years ago. And I remember one of the very first couples I was counseling, I had counseled the wife and worked with her a couple times, and she said, you know, my husband wants to come and see you too. And I'm like, okay. So he came in and he was very sheepish, and they had been in a really big conflict for years and years. And she had finally filed for divorce. And so they're sitting there, and she starts to rattle off all her accusations against him like a machine gun at an enemy. And she went on for 15 minutes, and you never, and you never, and you don't, and you never, and you never. And he just sat there like a whipped dog in the corners, quietly. You know, I knew he was a big part of the problem, but are you ever in a meeting where you kind of feel, even though you feel for the bad guy? I was like, she was so vicious with him. I started to feel compassion for him. And he was very afraid. And finally, I could see his face turning redder and redder and redder as he just dropped his head. And finally, he gets so mad. He yells, I took you to Paris twice. I took you to Paris twice. Well, her last accusation before he yelled, I took you to Paris twice, is you leave your underwear on the floor every morning for 15 freaking years. You leave your underwear on the floor every morning for 15 years, and every morning I say, can you pick up your underwear? And every morning you don't pick up your underwear. And he said, I took you to Paris twice. And I turned to him and I said, whoa, and they began to, escalate. And I said, whoa, back up, time out. And I turned to him, I'll call him Johnny. I said, Johnny, you can't fix with a Paris trip what you broke with your underwear. He looked at me just like that. He said, what? I said, you can't fix with a Paris trip what you broke with your underwear. He said, I have no idea what you're talking about. I said, you can't fix disrespect with an event. And by the way, their marriage got healed. They canceled their divorce. They went on to get marriage counseling, and they survived. They did it.
Amen.
But I said to him, Johnny, here's the secret of marriage. Look in my eyes now. I said, Johnny, do what you do when you feel like it, when you don't. This is what it means to love. I do what I do when I feel like doing it, when I don't feel like it. See, marriage isn't, relationships aren't built on what I do when I feel like it. Relationships are built on what do I do when I don't feel like it. Are you with me? And so I want to just talk a little bit more about love. How many understand that how I feel is not how I am? Okay, let's try that again.
Amen.
How I feel is not how I am. Okay, here's a bigger one. How I feel is not who I am.
Amen.
I may not feel like I'm doing good, and I may be doing great. I may not feel like a believer, but I'm still a believer. You know why? Because my feelings are great servants, but they're terrible masters. I don't let my feelings dictate my life. I let my spirit dictate my life.
Amen.
And I let my feelings follow.